Very much. Okay, good evening and welcome to the Planning Commission of the City of Moreno Valley. I now call this meeting to order on March 11th, 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m. May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Bergares?
Here.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Steffen?
Present.
Commissioner Harris?
Here.
Commissioner DeJournette?
Here.
Commissioner Sims?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Baker?
Here.
Chairperson Corsick?
Present. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Commissioner Bergares.
Okay, everyone put their hearts over their hand over their hearts. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
for
stands,
which
one
one
nation,
under God, indivisible, for liberty
and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Bergares.
Thank you,
Next,
man.
we're going to move to the approval of the agenda. Could we have a motion, please, by raising your hand for the motion and for the second? Anyone raise their hands to approve?
I did, ma'am.
Commissioner Bergares?
Okay, Garris, and was it?
Second.
Okay, and Commissioner Baker.
Okay.
Okay, maybe have the roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bergares?
Yes.
Commissioner Steffen?
Yes,
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner DeJournette?
Yes.
Commissioner Sims?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker?
Yes.
Chairperson Corsick?
Yes, motion carries. The public comments procedure. During the public comment period for each item, as well as during the public comment period for items not on the agenda, each member of the public who has signed up to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes. If you do not wish to make public comments, please be aware that if you are attending this meeting through the Zoom platform, you will be displayed as a speaker. Those wishing to view the meeting without making comments can do so online via the city's website at www.moval.org/MV3LIVE. This link is available through the city's website. It can also be viewed on YouTube Live and on channel MVTV3. The next item is public comments on any items not on the agenda. Are there any speakers?
Have no speakers signed up.
Thank you. All right, then we're going to move right on to the consent calendar. The next item. Okay. Do we have someone?
Okay, if you're not speaking, can everyone go ahead and mute themselves just so we don't get any feedback? Thank you.
Okay, so that was basically feedback. We didn't have anyone waiting to speak. Okay, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Yes, commissioners, make sure you also turn off your cell phones. All right, the next item on the agenda, as we've done public comments, and we're going to go to the consent calendar. The next item is the approval of the consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by one motion unless a member of the commission requests that an item be removed for separate action. Items withdrawn for a report or discussion will be heard after the public hearing item. Questions or comments from the public on a consent calendar matter are limited to 3 minutes per individual and must pertain to the subject under consideration. And under the consent calendar, item number 1, minutes of the February 11th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. Can we have a vote or a motion to accept the items on the consent calendar?
I'll move that we.
Motion?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I believe that Vice Chair Baker was making the motion.
Perfect. Okay. Maybe have a roll call vote for approval. Or
Do we have a second?
yeah,
I'll second it.
sorry. Okay. So Commissioner Stefan has seconded. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bugaris,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Commissioner Harris, if you could please unmute yourself.
Sorry, yes.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner DeJournette,
Yes.
Commissioner Sims,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker,
Yes.
Chairperson Corsick.
Yes, motion carried. Now we're going to move on to the public hearing item. I'm not going to go over the list I went through the last several times about the procedures. I know by now you all know to stick to the subject at hand and that there really is no commissioner interaction until the deliberation. So we're not going to go over that again. All right, item number 1, the plot plan for the 49-unit apartment complex. Can we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The item before you will be presented by Associate Planner Julia Dakota.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. The item before you tonight is a plot plan for a 49-unit multifamily residential project. Next slide, please. The site is located on Dracaea Avenue, west of Edgemont Street on approximately 3.41 acres. Next slide, please. The project is in the residential 15 zoning district. Parcels to the west are located, are also vacant, as is this parcel, located within the R15 designation. Sites to the east are within the residential 10 zoning district and include both developed and undeveloped sites. Properties to the north are existing single family with residential 5 within the residential 5 zoning district. And to the south, there are existing single family in the residential 5 and residential 15 zoning with undeveloped land. Next slide, please. So the proposed project is a multifamily residential complex. It includes a 3-story, 42-unit building located within the larger portion of the site there to the northeast of the site. It includes both 1 and 2 bedroom units. And then also on the southern portion of the site, there are 3 2-bedroom duplex townhomes located near the entrance to the site. There's also going to be an on-site manager's unit within the project. The project is designed with a community room, an exercise area within that room, a pool, a spa, and a play area, which is located on the northeast corner of the site, and an additional gathering area within the center of the main complex. As designed, the project has parking for all the residents and guests per the parking standards within the municipal code. There is perimeter fencing along both sides of the project with a solid block wall on the northerly property line as required when a multifamily project is adjacent to a single family district. At that same location on the northern portion of the site, there is an emergency access only with a gate incorporated into the project, which will exit to Lancaster Lane to the north if there is an emergency and there is no resident access to or from the site from the northerly property. The main structure is about 100 feet away from the single family residential district, which exceeds the requirement of 50 feet as stated in the municipal code. Landscaping will be included and designed for the city standards along with the frontage, sides, and rear property lines, and that's in addition to the interior landscape area that the project will have. Next slide, please. This is the elevation for the main larger 42-unit building. The project as designed and conditioned conforms to all development standards in the residential 15 zoning district and the design guidelines for multifamily residential developments as prescribed in the city's municipal code and the landscape standards. The buildings reflect a modern contemporary architecture style with multiple gray tone colors. Exterior enhancements to the building include a variation in wall projections, colors, window treatments, covered entry areas, metal accents for the balconies, and private open space areas as required for the municipal code. Each of the units will have the required private open space with the project which exceeds the common open space requirement with the site, which is 300 square feet per unit. And this project will have approximately, I believe, 16,000 square feet. So it's got a lot of extra open space area, which includes that pool, community room, the gym, and the outside areas. This picture again represents the 42 unit building. Next slide, please. And this is the elevations of the townhome style units. It uses the same design and materials and colors as the main building. Next slide, please. This is the elevations for the community center, and which includes the manager's unit. And again, the colors and materials are consistent throughout the project. Next slide, please. An initial study was prepared in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act with the finding that the mitigated negative declaration serves as the appropriate CEQA documentation for the project. With the implementation of the proposed mitigation measures, the project will not have a significant effect on the environment. The project was appropriately noticed in the newspaper, on site, and to all property owners within 300 feet. And to date, I have received one phone call from an adjacent property owner who stated they would be watching tonight. Provided to you prior to the meeting was a memo to modify two conditions of approval. After some discussions with the applicant, we needed to further clarify the intent of the conditions of approval. So I'll read those into the record right now. Staff recommends that the following conditions of approval be revised as follows. Condition number 68 shall read as, this project is subject to a reimbursement agreement as a means for the developer of the project to potentially obtain a 50% reimbursement towards primary electrical system infrastructure costs installed within the public street right-of-way by this developer. Reimbursements will be from landowners of vacant land benefiting from said electrical improvements at such time when that vacant land is developed up to but not extending beyond 10 years from the date of the reimbursement agreement. The next condition of approval was condition number 112. Prior to building permit issuance, an access easement from the property owner of APN 263-111-016 is required if one is not already in place. In addition, there shall be no pedestrian access from the project site and onto Lancaster Lane. This concludes, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2021-09 for the environmental and resolution 2021-10 as amended with the modifications to the conditions of approval. This concludes staff's presentation, and at this time, the applicant and I are available to answer any questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Are there any commissioner questions for staff at this time? Nate, let's do a roll. We'll go through everybody to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak. Ashley, could you call on people?
Yes, Commissioner Sims.
I have no questions at this time.
Thank you, sir. Vice Chairperson Baker.
The only question I have is on that Lancaster Lane, how that's all going to work. I assume, I don't even know if that's a paved road. I didn't get back to look at that. So maybe if the road people could talk about that later on.
It is a city street.
Okay.
So it's not completely improved as far as all sidewalks and, but again, this project isn't accessing it for its purposes. It would only be accessing it in emergency only where the fire department would come in and open the gates.
Okay, I understand that. Very good. Thank you.
Commissioner DeJournette.
No real questions. I was just kind of looking at some of the wildlife there, the kangaroo, rabbit, the burrowing owls, and I think Is that right? Is that on the conditional approval that a fee has to be paid for disturbing those habitats?
Yes, there is. The SKR, which is the Stevens Kangaroo Rat, is a $500 per acre fee. And that fee doesn't stay within the city. It goes into a bank for the environmental, the word is escaping me right at the moment. It's a mitigation fee.
Multiple. The
And
fee
then-
is called the Multiple Species Habitat Conservation Plan implementation fee.
There's two of them. There's one for the SKR and the MSHCP. Both of them apply to the project.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brugaris?
Yes, Julia. I'm 1B package, page 59, the front entrance on Dracaea. See how you have the trees and all that dirt?
Yes.
Okay, I drove on that to look inside the property. Is that gonna be sidewalk with a curve where people can park on the curve? That entrance
Yes.
into the
They'll have,
property?
yes, they'll have to improve the frontage of their property. All projects are required to do that. And then within the entry, they'll also have decorative paving. They're inside the on-site for the project. But yes, they will be required to do the frontage of their property.
So we have two emergencies. We're gonna have one in the front on Dracaea and then one on Lancaster.
That's
That
correct.
You're not gonna allow the pedestrians to use it, right? There's a gate.
Correct, on the north property line, yes.
Okay, all right, good. All right, good enough. Yeah, because I drove on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stefan?
Okay, I have a question about the city parking for the municipal code. How is that done? Because on other projects, we seem to be having a problem with the parking in some of the ones that we've already approved. I've gotten quite a few calls, and I'm kind of wondering, since this is the same type project, how is that actually done? Is it the city that has done that? Or is it a state mandate that how many parking spaces there is allowed per unit?
The city's municipal code determines the parking count for the project. Based on this project, there are 82 parking spaces required and 82 provided, plus the 6 that are with the garages for the townhomes. And when they do the calculations for this, they base it on what the bedroom units of the project. So for example, a 1-bedroom unit is 1.5 parking spaces per unit, and the 2-bedroom would be 2 per unit. So they do a calculation based on the number of bedrooms in each unit, and that's what determines the parking.
Okay, so there's gonna be 82 parking spots?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I didn't realize there was gonna be that many. Because I know that a lot of times people that do rent in the apartments have more than one vehicle. And even, let's say a 1-bedroom apartment, it's 1.5. I don't know how you cut a car in half. But if you've got a husband and wife and they both have a vehicle, it's gonna be a little tough for them to be parking. And then they have to park out in the street, and then they've got sweeper days. I mean, I've had people, so many people, calling me about them getting tickets on these apartments that they built, and they don't have anywhere to park. And so the overflow goes onto the main streets, and then the streets, if they've got, like I said, sweeper days, then they've got tickets on the sweeper. So I don't know. I'm just trying to think of, the residents here in the city. And I know that apartments have gone up sky high. I mean, it's in the news, it's everywhere. And so I just wonder if the city, years ago, it wasn't like that. You didn't have a lot of people and a lot of cars. I've got a neighbor that's got like 8 cars, you know, in his driveway. I mean, people have come home to live in, you know, some of the apartments are $2,200 a month for 2 bedrooms. And sometimes you got 2, sometimes they'll squeeze an extra person in there, you know, just to share the rent and stuff. So I was just wondering, and I know a lot of people, since we don't have a council person in my district right now, they've taken to, since I've been here for so long, so many years, they've taken to calling me and asking me and then saying, you're on the planning commission, don't you realize that there's in the parking is a problem? And so I just thought I'd bring it up since we are building another apartment complex. And if the city can somehow, if this is a city municipal code, they can kind of revisit it. I don't know. That's just my concern. And only because I've been inundated by calls from people in my district 2, you know, so. And other than that, I was thinking on the electrical system, so a lot of the people that own the vacant properties that are adjacent to this project that are coming in, are they well aware that they're gonna have to share some of the costs? Have they been notified?
No, they don't get notified until they come in to do a project, but
And then they get surprised.
well, they would still have the utility, whether it's the Moreno Valley utility or Edison, depending on where our utility is or isn't. So the utilities would be required regardless of the utility provider.
Okay, so basically this isn't just attached to this project. It basically is, you know, because it's saying that they're going to be reimbursed 50%. So is that?
That depends on if they're into the reimbursement program. I can maybe have another staff member address that a little bit more if you'd like to. Like,
No, I was just curious because if I own the adjacent property myself, I think I, you know, want to know about that. But I was just wondering about that. And actually the permit that it needs for the easement on that property, do we know if it has been obtained or not, or?
no, it's required to be obtained.
But you don't know at this point in juncture if it has been?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, those are kind of basically the things I was thinking about. And like I said, maybe somebody in the city could explore that about the parking, because it's getting to be a pretty bad problem in some areas. And a lot of people are even getting towed. And those tow fees, those tow truck drivers are relentless. They're like $400 some just to get your car out of impound. And when you're renting and then on top of it get, you know, stung by those type of fees and getting parking tickets and everything else. I kind of, just because I am a longtime resident and these are residents of Moreno Valley that have to deal with it, I think we should as a city address it in the future if we can address it now.
Okay, thank you. We'll note that down.
Okay.
Commissioner Harris?
Julia, just a couple questions. Of the 42 units, how many of those are 1 bedroom and how many are 2 bedroom? I didn't see that.
Okay, hold on just one moment. Let me get my bearings again. If we want to go on to the next question, I'll keep looking for that. I know it's on here. It's just a little hard to read right at the moment.
Okay. And, my other question was, I just heard in your report or somebody asked the question, and you said there would be 88 parking spaces?
82.
82.
Oh, 82.
Yes, the townhome units will have their own 2-car parking.
Okay, so, and that's not included in the 82.
Right.
So are any of these attached to the units? Are they indoor parking or are they just covered parking?
There's a variety of different parking on the project. There, with the townhomes, the parking is underneath the first floor, or actually it is the first floor, and then the residential unit will be on top. There are single car garages, and then there are also parking spaces that is uncovered. So there's a variety of different parking depending
And
on.
how does that break down?
There's
far as the
42,
covered-
right, there's 44 single car garages, 38 uncovered parking spaces, and 6 two-car garages. And the units are 30 one-bedroom and 12 two-bedroom units.
Okay, do the bedrooms again, I'm sorry.
31 bedrooms and 12 two-bedroom units.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Chairperson Corsick?
At this time, I have no questions. Do any other commissioners have questions of staff before we move on to the applicant? If not, would the applicant like to speak?
Commissioner Sims has his hand raised.
I can't see him on my screen. Okay, sorry.
Well, I just, Commissioner Stevens, I just, I don't know if the electrical is going to be through the city or if it's going to be through Edison, but the reimbursement agreement, we do these kind of things for, you know, water and sewer utilities. Typically, the reimbursement agreement is something to protect the first mover that has to incur the infrastructure. So what will be done is there will be an area of benefit will be defined, and it'll be an area, and it'll show all. Basically, it'll define what undeveloped properties will benefit by the infrastructure built by the first mover. So then there's a sunset of 10 years. So during that 10 years, the first mover has an opportunity to get a pro rata share of the cost from the undeveloped property owners as they move to develop. In the opposite of that, if the first mover doesn't go and he's the second mover, then the first mover would have had to, one of the other guys would have had to do it. So it really works out, and it's generally a very common and equitable way to reimburse the first mover. First mover stays at risk if nobody develops within the term of the reimbursement. So anyhow.
Okay. Learn something every day.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, I don't see any hands raised. Would the applicant like to speak?
Yes, my name is Joe Velasic. I'm with Noah Group Architects, and we also have Chintu Patel and Pratik Shah on the phone, as well as other team members. I think you covered everything beautifully, Julia. I want to say that I've really enjoyed working with you and Sean and others at the city. As you're well aware, Commissioner, you may not be aware of this, but this was a fairly complex project because of some of the constraints on the property, especially with AOUC and so forth. And we've had extensive talks and communications with Moreno Valley Electric Utility District and about the cul-de-sac at the other end of the property and about a host of other issues. And I think we've come up with what we consider good solutions for all of those items. We are the first movers here, so we're going to bear the brunt of the cost for the electric infrastructure improvements, and hopefully other developers will follow suit and help mitigate some of those costs. But basically, I just want to make myself available for questions if any of the commissioners have any follow-up questions. I also believe that Mr. Shaw wants to speak for just a minute.
Thank you, Joe. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here. I just want to start off by saying that I'm very excited to be here. I went to undergraduate at UC Riverside between 2005 and 2009. During that time, my whole area of travel was between Riverside near the school and Moreno Valley, where my friends would live or where we'd go. 8 years later, I find myself coming back to this area in 2017 with my partner Chintu Patel, a co-developer, and I feel the same welcomeness I felt when I was first here. In 8 years, I can say a lot has changed and a lot has not changed. And one of the areas I remember is Moreno Valley. The reputation back then from a young 20-year-old was that it was generally not a good place to live. Coming back years later, I've seen the improvements. I've seen the community grow. And I was told when I was young that in 20, 30 years, your degree is going to mean a lot more once this area develops. 8 years later, I found out waiting is not the best thing to have a chance to improve the community, especially where I started my college career and coming back from my professional career. I feel very drawn to this area. And I want to thank you guys for welcoming us, making this a very smooth process. And I can speak on behalf of Chintu as well. We love working with you guys. And we want to create a long partnership where we're involved with Moreno Valley's future. And instead of me waiting the 20, 30 years for my degree to be worth something, we feel like we can do it much sooner. We can bring the needs of the city for apartments, residents, or whatever the city needs. We're going to work with you because at the end of the day, we have to be welcomed by the community and the city has to, and then we also have to work with you guys in order to make a successful project. Well, thank you for the time, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak before we ask questions? Okay, if not, I'd just like to ask one question. What is your timeline for the completion of the project?
Chintu?
We will planning to break ground in end of July of 2021 and should be done in about 12 to 14 months.
Thank you. Okay, commissioners, any questions of the applicant?
I have,
Go ahead.
okay, to the developer, let me see, the private enclosed garages, are those individually going to be rented or are those going to be assigned to the apartments?
They usually assign.
Those are going to be attached and assigned to the apartment. They're included in the rent.
Okay, so that will help with parking. So there'll be less parking out in the open land, open field, whatever it may be.
No, I apologize. I'm sorry. I was addressing the previous project. This project, there will be, so as far as the parking goes,
Yes.
Yes, it is available for renting as well. So there should be approximately, if you count the condos included, since they have their own garages, that leaves more parking spots for the residents. And it gets closer to the 2 cars per unit. So that way, like we're addressing the street issue, we get closer to the 2 cars per unit that will sufficiently cover the project area and the residents.
Right, because the one thing I've learned myself that owns 5 vehicles, you can't get them all on the site. I can't put that many in the garage, and I only can put so many on the space in front of the garage door. So eventually I learned how to move them back and forth, or I know when the truck is coming so I can beat it. That's just the way I do things.
We're going to help people save money by limiting themselves to 2 cars.
Oh, that would be nice. But when you have a family,
okay,
because of the pandemic, again, you have a lot of families that now live with their relatives, and you got kids. So, it's important that we find space in Edgemont that we can also respect the residents that live there the longest. That's the main thing that, like you said, you're going to work with the staff, you're going to work with the community, and you're going to provide the needs that they need is in space, parking, that we don't congest the whole street. That's what we're looking for. Fairness is called here. Fairness. That's my question. It's important that, once again, Edgemont gets recognized finally for your project and many others that finally will come in the future, that they get recognized because it's just their turn to get things done in that area. Anyway, thank you for answering my question.
Thank you, Commissioner Bergares. Anyone else?
Commissioner Sims.
I was curious, just from my past work history, the box is water going to be provided through the Box Springs Mutual Water Company?
I can jump in, Mr. Sims. Yes, water is going to be provided by Box Springs Mutual. We've had numerous flow tests done. We've had probably 100 different conversations with them regarding their infrastructure in this area. As you're well aware, probably this is on the edge of their service district. So we're working with them to both improve their distribution of water and to get adequate water to our project.
Okay, so they'll have some kind of, the mutual will have some kind of set of conditions, like line extensions or something like that to get your fire flow in the area.
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
My question, I didn't think I heard this correctly. You said 44 garages. Is that correct? $44 garages.
Yes,
Okay, are those one-car garages?
yes. They are
Okay.
single car garages, yes.
Okay, so each resident would get a single car in, and then they would get an additional space back. So the wife gets to park her car inside and the husband parks his car outside. I see some nodding heads there already. No, I do agree with Commissioner Steffens. I think that eventually, and this doesn't have anything to do with it. I think we do have to start thinking more about the parking, because if you were just to drive around Moreno Valley and look at the apartment complexes, you will see cars on the street. Yeah. It's just because our formula is off. There's probably not anybody that their picture is on this page right here that has just one car in their household. Yeah, there probably isn't a single person here. There might be one.
We do have quite a few single bedroom units, so they may or may not have more than one car. But we fully comply, of course, with the zoning ordinance, and it's pretty current with most of the other municipal zoning ordinances regarding parking. I don't know what it was in the past. It may be more stringent now than it, and especially some of these older complexes where you typically see these parking congestion problems.
Yeah. So I'm very happy that something is going up in here. I'm just, I'm with her. I just think about the parking, because when you have guests, you have one car in, one car out, and then you have a guest or two guests or three guests, then parking becomes a problem really quick. But I'm very happy that something is going up there. So it's nothing to do with you guys. You're following what you're supposed to follow, and I commend you for that. This is a wonderful thing. Just parking does have to be a consideration down the future. Thanks for answering my question.
You're welcome.
Yes, this has nothing to. Can I jump in?
Yes.
Okay, this has nothing to do with the developer at all. It was something that I think we need to address with our city municipal code as to the parking. And it is new construction that is being affected, because up here on that one project off of Ironwood just past Day Street that went up, they're having a huge problem. In fact, I know for a fact some of the residents are thinking of getting a petition because they have to park off site and they're getting ticketed. Like I said, they're getting towed, and it's become a really big issue. I've gotten quite a few calls on that, and I'm sorry that we don't have a councilman there right now because of the fact that Carla had passed away. So, we really, I told them I was going to bring it up, but it has nothing to do with this project at all. They're following the municipal code, everything. So, on the developer, don't even think this has anything to do with you. So I think the project is a good project. They're following all the laws. So that's all I wanted to say. I just brought it up because I think we need to revisit that. Since we are on the planning commission, we're the ones that put these projects through and then later we have an issue.
Okay, any more questions of the applicant pertaining to the project?
No.
Okay. No one else? All right, in that case, we will now open public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who is on the Zoom application that has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on any agenda item. Do we have any public comments?
No, Madam Chair, I have nobody signed up to speak.
Okay, all right, then we are going to move on. We're going to move on to deliberations, but before we do that, this is the time when the commissioners get to discuss amongst themselves the merits of the project. We now have time to ask final questions of staff or the applicant before we go into deliberations. Does anyone have any more questions at this point? I don't see any.
Commissioner.
Okay, go ahead.
Commissioner Dugenais, did I see your hand up?
No, my son was leaving.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, that was a false alarm. All right. All right, then at this point, let's move on to deliberations. And let's do this with a roll call to get started so everyone has a chance to speak one time, at least.
Commissioner Bergeras?
Thank you. I went by the project and like I said, I was able to park on the side of the fence and look inside the project, the land. And to my eyes, there was a little trailer way on the other end of the project. And I saw 2 cars out there. And you know me, I gotta drive into dirt. Because if I don't drive into dirt, I can't see what's going on. So I did that and I got to meet the developers. And I met them before in 2019, because this is their second project that they're doing for us in Moreno Valley. They're doing the townhomes on one side and they're developing 49 units on the other side. And when I look at 3.41 acres, I think about how much is going on to that land. You know, all the units, a pool, a play park, parking space, 16,000 of common open space. They're doing a lot with that piece of property to accommodate their future residents. And at the same time, they are making an improvement into our first town, Edgemont. Edgemont has been around for many, many years. And a lot of people see it from either from eucalyptus when they get off the freeway, or especially on Alexandria when they're coming back into town. But the project is going to be done in the middle. And they're willing to invest their money to make something happen in Edgemont. And I hope that that fruit one day would separate from one end to the other and make Edgemont what it was once, many, many years ago, the heart of the city. So I hope that their effort will pay off as they continue to invest in the city of Moreno Valley. So I was proud to meet them again and to hear their story and to listen to their vision. And I know they're going to keep their promise because you got to meet them also today in person. So we need more developers like that in Edgemont so we can make the heart of the city beat better as they go in further. We know what the east side looks like. We know what District 2 looks like and partial of District 4. But District 1 is growing fast because that's what we need. You know, they got the school, they got the apartments on Eucalyptus, and they got all that stuff now being built on Day Street. It's all District 1. One day we're going to see the heart of the city come to light one day. So thank you so much for coming back to Moreno Valley and continue to work with us. And I thank the staff for the effort, really, truly, to get a 3.41 acres and make it something remarkable as it comes to being built in January, and hopefully, like the gentleman said, in 14 months, there will be brand new residents living in that area and making new friends and neighbors. So good luck. I hope it gets approved tonight, and continue to see Edgemont grow. Thank you.
You.
Commissioner Steffen?
Yes, I don't see anything wrong with the project. I am delighted to see something going in Edgemont area because they do have some challenging battles there with the infrastructure, but I guess they're working them out. Like I said, my concern has nothing to do with the project per se, because we do need the housing and people, need somewhere to live, and there is a shortage, and you see it in the news all the time. So I think this is just going to be a bonus for that area, because like what Raphael said, there hasn't been much building there, but there is a lot of land. And I'm sure with this will just be the beginning. So it is a good project. And I'm sure, I wish them all the luck. And like I said, it'll revitalize that area. So I like the project.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes, just one comment or a couple comments. I really think that we should get away from calling that area Edgemont. It is part of Moreno Valley, and Edgemont may have some bad connotations to it. And I just, when we incorporated it, became part of Moreno Valley, and I think that that's what we should refer to it as. And the other thing is, I think that this project will revitalize that area. And I think the project looks really nice, and hopefully it will encourage other people to come and maybe build other things that will help bring up that area. And that's all.
Commissioner DeJournette?
No real comments. I like everything that I see here, the frontage, the colors, and whether I know it's Moreno Valley. I'm partial to the area. I actually grew up there. The high school there in Edgemont before it became Moreno Valley. And I'm so happy that this developer is sticking with us and helping us to vitalize our areas. I'm really ecstatic that we're building that area up. So good luck with your project, and I'm happy for it. I really am.
Commissioner Sims?
I echo what the other commissioners are. This is one of those, my past work when I worked at the Western Municipal Water District, and we worked with did a lot of work with Box Springs. There's challenges on the water, challenges on electric, and so forth and so on. But if there's a will, there's a way, and that is all that vacant property in there. It just needs somebody to do it. And I think, I truly do wish the developer the best of luck on this, because this is one of those field of dreams type of things. I think the more you get going in there, the better it'll go. So I'm looking forward for this to be successful. Bravo Burgers will probably be very happy here going. And hopefully the Yum Yum up the street that we keep waiting, or Winchell's or whatever it was supposed to go, hopefully that pops in. So best of luck to you. I really commend you for doing that, and get your reimbursement agreements in place, because I think first mover in might spur the other folks to get off the dime and start moving that area forward. I lived in Moreno Valley since '94, and it's one of the things when I was interviewed when years ago about the appointment to planning commission. One of my things is always, you always have to be concerned about your portals into your city. It's your home. And the portal coming in out of Riverside on Alessandro and Eucalyptus is less than desirable right now. It's not a warm feeling coming into Moreno Valley from that point. So I truly thank you for getting in there and starting something. Hopefully it spurns more growth there.
Vice Chairperson Baker.
This project brings a lot of good high efficiency apartments to the area, and I commend these developers for sticking with us to go forward, and I wish them the best of luck. I think it's a great project and we need to move forward.
Chairperson Corsick.
Yes, from the commissioner that owns one car, I want you to know. And believe it or not, I have a car garage and I can't get my car in there. So there. I do want to commend the architect. I think the design of this, it's a very complex design. It's a very small space, but the simplicity of the design really, really worked. It's a fresh, clean look. It's not gussied up with a lot of things. I think it fits the space beautifully. So I'm very eager to see this being built. So with that, there are no other commissioner comments. I will call for a motion if anyone is so inclined.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sims.
Yay.
Looks like a possible second from Commissioner DeJournette.
Okay.
I have to get my glasses on.
Okay, sir.
I make a motion that the Planning Commission approve resolution number 2021-10 and approve the plot plan along with the amended conditions as referenced by staff on condition number 68 and number 112.
Very good. And second was from,
Excuse me, I think we need,
Commissioner.
we have two resolutions.
oh, you have two. Okay, go ahead.
The second was made by Commissioner DeJournette.
Okay. So are we all set on the wording of everything? It sounds like we are. Okay, then let's call for the vote.
Commissioner Brugueras.
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan.
Yes.
Commissioner Harris.
Yes.
Commissioner DeJournette.
Yes.
Commissioner Sims.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker.
Yes.
Chairperson Corsick.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Can we have staff wrap up, please?
Yes, the action taken by the Planning Commission this evening is an appealable action. Any interested party that would wish to file an appeal must do so within 10 days of the action. If an appeal is filed, it must be in writing, directed to the Community Development Director, and with the appropriate fee. If any appeal is received, it would be agendized for a public hearing before the City Council. Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is other commission business. At this time, we have no items. The next item on the agenda is staff comments. Do we have any staff comments at this time?
None here.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is planning commissioner comments. Do we have any commissioner comments at this time?
Just one, don't forget to change your clock this weekend. We're going forward.
Thank you. Thank goodness for the ones that turn by themselves and we don't have to think about it. Is that
Commissioner Sims?
okay? That's it for you, Commissioner Brugueras? Really? Okay. Is there anyone else?
Commissioner Sims?
Oh, I just I have my optimism is starting to increase, and based on the various metrics that we're seeing and hearing from our county officials, and I am hoping with a little bit of and hope I don't have to hold my breath too long, but perhaps I might get a green beer on St. Patrick's Day at Chili's around the corner. So, It's the small things in life. Thursday nights on a cold beer at Chili's. Now, come on. Let's go. Everybody get vaccinated and let's get this thing in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, getting there slowly but surely, aren't we? All right, anyone else? Okay.
Commissioner Dejanay?
Go ahead.
And I'm kind of still on with what's Commissioner Stephens. I don't know how we would go about it, but she did make a very, very good point. I know that there's somebody with a calculator somewhere that goes through formulas and they come up with the formula with the probably exponents and summations and all kinds of things and come up with that half a car.
Yeah.
There's not such thing as a half a person or a half a car. And we also know, and Commissioner Sims has brought it up in addition, I know there's formulas that go on, but we have run into parking as issues before with past projects. So I don't know how we would go about as we're looking at that formula. Let's get rid of those 1/4, 1/2 a person, 1/2 a car. Because we are running into parking issues in Moreno Valley, and we as a governing body should look at that and say we should do something about it.
Yeah, and if I can, Commissioner Dejanay, the issue I had was an apartment complex that went through a year or so ago, where they rewarded the developer by reducing the parking below what the minimum requirement was. And I still, it's one of those, I go like this every time when stuff like that happens, but I'm not a planner, so I just sit on the commission. That's that. But I think the commission has two things that we'd like to, from what over the last year or two or whatever, is the parking and then our density on cannabis operations being clustered together. I don't know where we're at with that, but it's a recurrent thing. We always talk about it at the thing. Oh, how come there's 8, 9, 10, 12, cannabis operations approved on Sunnymead Boulevard between Heacock and Indian? And anyhow, I don't know if the council listens to this, but perhaps that's something at some point, maybe we should ask to agendize it and get a vote by the commissioners and see if it would at least request that the issue be picked up by
I honestly think we should, because I'm not just saying this, but I have gotten a lot of calls, especially about the parking. And then I also am concerned with the fact that there are a lot of the cannabis establishments being put in a certain area. They're calling it the green light district. We're not even in Europe.
Guys, we have to be really, really careful at this point, because we were warned last time about having a discussion that's not on the agenda by way of the Brown Act. So
thank you, Madam Chair.
Patty here.
We're just simply asking, how do we do this?
So we do anticipate in the not too distant future doing some code amendments, and we can take a look at that time.
Okay, as long as we do something.
Okay, is that it? All right, and with that, I'm going to, at this time, the Planning Commission is adjourned at 7:59 p.m. to our next regular meeting of March 25th, 2021. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and I hope you all get your green beer.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.